And good morning, good afternoon, and hello to you. Good evening. It's the 15th of June of the aught 22, and I am 1 minute 61 seconds late. Can you believe this? It's the John Lavenia Success Mastermind. I'm your guy, Glenn Henderson. It's good to see you. It's a gorgeous, sunny, warm day here in Houston, Texas. And let us get the housekeeping out of the way first thing. What do you say? Today we've got, it should be a fun evening. We've got the hospitality suite right after this. And then, yes, you heard it here first, networking magic tonight. 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. I can see Lindsay is really depressed about networking magic. She just, what, this guy Glenn again? Come on, who let him in? I thought security was tighter in this place. Nice to see you all. Hello, Lynn. Thank you for joining us. Nice to see you. It's our man, Stuart, without whom. Good to see you, brother. Cat and her cat, or cat and her cat, whichever way that works. Linda Landry's here, listening in, and Bob and Missy. They always show up. You know, faithful friends are tough to come by. Oh, nice garden, Missy. We like it. And of course, front and center, it's the money mama. Lindsay, how do you do? Nice to see you. It has been... What kind of week has it been for you so far? Pretty good week. Not sure yet. Live, kill, live. You know how they used to do in Romans, right? Live. No, not sure yet. Onward and upward, Stuart says. Edward, thanks for jumping in, and all of those jumping in on the Facebooks and the interwebs and all over the place and catching us on the recording. We're so glad to see you. Stuart, did you know? Well, of course you knew, because you was born and raised there just like me. So you knew that the state motto of the state of New York is one word. You know the one word? Excelsior. Excelsior, Latin word meaning ever upward. New York. Of course, looking at the current state of things in the state of New York, one might have a slightly different opinion, but that's another conversation for another day. Daisy, don't tell the boss. Daisy just logged in. How you doing, Daisy? Good to see you. So, has it been a kind of an Excelsior week for you so far? Or has it been, let us say, slightly less than ever upward? Or somewhere in there. Is it holding steady? There's nothing wrong with holding steady. Unless I am using holding steady as an excuse for not seeking to be at my best at all times. For not seeking to do I'm hanging in there. How you doing? I'm hanging in there. No, you're not. Nobody is hanging in there. We are, it's a law of nature, right? We are either growing or we are dying. There is no hanging in there in nature. At least not that I'm aware of. Stuart might be able to offer us some insights, having a bit more understanding of the science behind the animal kingdom and the circle of life and so forth. But I was telling this story yesterday, as a matter of fact, part of this, which I'll share with you right now, as we all have, so I'm not trying to make anything special out of myself, as we all have, I have come through some very challenging, very difficult times and experiences in my life. Some might call them failures. Okay, call it a failure. It's all right with me. What I do know and I'm very proud of this statistic, I have you ready for this? I have a 100%, 1,000, batting 1,000 undefeated record at surviving my tough days. Why? Still here. And so, interestingly enough, are you. So that's one thing to take from whatever your week has been so far. And if we're to be honest with ourselves, I think we could say that, well, let's just put it this way. Some weeks are better than others. All right? Some weeks are pretty good. Other weeks are better than that. And then there are some weeks where you're really looking forward to Saturday so you can turn the page. Right? Saturday, Sunday. Let me share a little bit about the week that I'm having so far, if that's all right with you. I had gotten to a point in my different business ventures and activities and interactions with people. I'd gotten to the point where I was starting to feel not stagnated, not like I was plateauing, not at all, but getting to feel like, okay, there's something else. Something else I need to do. I'm doing pretty well with current activities. Businesses are moving up and growing. And so that was good. Stats are getting better. But I'm still thinking there's something more. There's another step to take. There's another level to shoot for. Right? I can move a little bit further ahead than we were before. How do we do that? Well, the way I look at it, there's a couple of different methods, a couple of different paths we might choose to take ourselves to that next level that we're seeking. One path would be to make new connections, to make some fresh phone calls, contact some new people, meet some new people, start some new conversations, maybe close a couple of new deals or new transactions, new sales. Another way might be to, let us say, deepen the relationships, extend the conversations that we're having with people we already know, and see about finding new ways to help them expand their business, grow their business, expand their life. Find out what somebody else wants and help them to get it among the people we already know. So kind of like warm market business, you might say. I had decided over the past week or so to take the path of new blood, of reaching out to new people, starting some new conversations, and expanding our target market. So a couple of things that we did with regard to the smoker pit business that we have. You guys know about that. I've shared that with you. What we decided to do was something fairly simple, which was we ran a Facebook ad. Very simple ad. I don't know, a couple $100, something like that. We ran a Facebook ad advertising one of the products, promoting one of the products that we produce. It's called, let me see if I can, I'm doing this, you know me, when I jump on these calls, I don't normally come with a printed script, of stuff. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to say that. One of the gifts that I've been given is, you might call, the gift of the gab, which is, when one idea falls out of my face, then there's usually another one behind it waiting to come out, and I've got to start the thought flowing in order for the whole thought to flow out. Does that make sense? So I do that all the time. So here's what I'm going to do. Totally on the spur of the moment here, I'm going to go over here and find our... Yeah, here we go. Our website for our Smoker Pit company online. And this is not me selling. I'm just showing you some pictures, if that's all right. I'm going to show you a photo of one of our newest products. It is called, here we go, going to share my screen. It's called the Live Fire Plancha. How cool is that? Is that all right? So on here on the right side, you have, let me just get a little annotating. Here on the right side, you have an open grill, right? Where you can load firewood underneath here, and then load your meat or sausages or whatever you want on the top. And here on the left side is a flat griddle, which you can use for cooking your tortillas or your eggs or whatever else you like that you'd rather not have it fall through the cracks, let's say. So this is our Live Fire Plancha. It's a new product for us, created by one of our partners, Paul Mata, and this was what we decided to advertise online. Now, as I said, we ran a Facebook ad. I think it was like maybe $200. We ran the ad. This was in aid of putting new pairs of eyes on our product, on what we have to offer. What is John's definition of marketing? We've heard this. Reaching into the public, impinging on their space, and putting their attention on that which we have to offer for the purpose of increasing the demand for what we supply. So that Facebook ad had one purpose, and it was to draw the public's attention more sharply to what we have to offer. Let me tell you, within 48 hours of running that ad, our phone is blowing off the hook. We're getting messages after messages after messages. I think from this time yesterday to this time today, we've had about a dozen inquiries. Hey, how much does that guy cost? How much does that plancha cost? What's it made from? What are the dimensions? What's it all about? How much is it? And how can I get one shipped to me? One ad, one series of ads, not a lot of money, and the public's attention is focused, which is pretty groovy, I must say. How much does it cost? Missy would like to say. Well, let me show you the picture again. The famous Live Fire Plancha. Well, there you are. That is made with 1-inch new steel, laser cut on plasma cut on our very own Lincoln Electric 4510 CNC plasma cutter. Please do not ask me what that is or how it works, because I have no clue. This guy goes for $8.49 for the upper portion. Let me get a little annotation going here. For this upper portion here, let me see, let me get this right. Yeah, for this upper portion here, that unit is $8.49. If you want to add the two position stand, it's $11.49. Now you see these two guys hanging over here and here over to the left there, those two little poles sticking out. One of those is essentially a coal scuttle that is for moving your wood around, your wood or your charcoal around in the bottom, repositioning. The other is like a spatula or some kind of a tool for moving and handling your meat or whatever it is you're cooking on the top. So 849, 1149. Okay, enough commercial. I don't want to get like shot in the back by Reverend Lavenia for hawking stuff on the mastermind. So it's not why. Anyway, you asked. It's your fault, Missy. I'm throwing you. If John asks any question, I'm throwing you under the bus. Anyway, so see, that was one thing that we did, and just one simple thing to get some new eyes on what we're up to draw a little bit more attention to what we're doing. Now, that's what happened with the Smoker Pit Company. As for me personally, as you all know, I'm kind of a fan of networking. I don't know if you knew that, but I am. I sort of, I enjoy chatting with people from time to time. And so I decided that personally, it was time to open a new door, to expand into a new marketplace, in the sense of a new marketplace of contacts, a new marketplace of interactions. And so, to that end, I went to a little happy hour thing yesterday, and I listened to a presentation, and I closed the presentation by saying, "Shut up and take my money." And I joined a new networking organization. It's something that I at this early stage I feel very strongly about, because one of the major purposes of this networking organization is not just to, pass some leads and get some referrals and get some business. The big function of this networking group is to train and coach and support entrepreneurs. Business coaching, financial training, how to write your business plan, how to control your company's finances, what happens if you need to raise your prices, how do you do that in a way that doesn't alienate your customer, all of those types of things, you see. How to hire new employees, how to fire employees, all of these things that are necessary in the life of a business owner, of an entrepreneur. And this organization, in some ways, specializes in providing the training and support that entrepreneurs need, as well as the networking opportunities, the opportunity to meet new people, and yes, get some opportunities, some referrals, potential referrals for potential new business. So you see, that was a big deal. Oh, and by the way, came out of that meeting yesterday with at least 2 or 3 new contacts for potential new customers for one of my other businesses. And so that told me, I had actually been hesitating to make the move and join that new networking organization because it wasn't cheap. Like they say, significant investment. One thinks twice. And they also say, I don't know who they are, but they say that almost nothing truly worthwhile is free or cheap, either in money or in time investment or in sweat equity, as they say, effort, investment of energy. So I realized that, you know what? If I'm going to truly expand my network, hopefully exponentially, that isn't going to happen for free. And that isn't going to happen easy. So I decided to make that move, make that investment. And so far, it's, in the early stages, it seems to be paying off. So what's the point of all this? 2 months ago, I had never even heard of this networking organization. And so it would not have occurred to me that this possibility existed. But once I did, I gave it the thought and then decided to make the move. 3 months ago, we in our Smoker Pit company were not seriously considering running Facebook ads. We heard about it. We know, obviously we knew about it. We thought about it. But you know what? We're getting a lot of business on from referrals, word of mouth, other people that we know, blah, blah, blah. Then we said, you know what? This is another possibility we have not explored yet. What do we got to lose? Right? So we tried it, and looky here. Phone's blowing up. Fantastic. What's the point of all this? I'm going to pop up another one of my favorite sayings. And I think this by itself is going to spur some conversation. So I'm going to leave it up there. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Yes. Here it is. Here it is. I got to show you this. 1 second. Okay. All of this says to me the following. If you're struggling with trying, like, I've done everything I can do. How do I get to from where I am now? I don't know of anything else that I can. Well, let us refer to our good friend Mr. Edison, shall we? Can you see that? When you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this: you haven't. Henry Ford determined that he was going to build an 8-cylinder internal combustion engine out of a single block of iron, at that time, steel. And he set his engineers the task. I want an 8-cylinder engine in a single block. Go build it. After a few weeks, they came back and said, Mr. Ford, we've done the studies and we've done a few experiments. It's impossible. It simply can't be done. And Henry Ford said, essentially, I don't want to hear that. Go back and build me my 8-cylinder engine. Or I'll find someone who can. Well, then they went back to work. Couple of months, they come back. Mr. Ford, we're just so sorry. We've tried it. We've built some. They've blown up. One of our guys got hurt or whatever it was. But listen, Mr. Ford, we've done everything we can think of. There is no way. The physical principles are just not. Mr. Ford, we can't change the laws of physics. It can't be done. He says, nonsense. I want that engine and I'll have it. Back to work. Miraculously, as if out of nowhere, seeing no hope for actually getting it done, somehow, from somewhere, they hardly even knew themselves that this was coming. The engineers found the solution. And now I have a big, beautiful Ram truck with an 8-cylinder internal combustion engine sitting in the front end, parked in front of my house. Why? Why did this happen? How did this happen? Thomas Edison. Henry Ford understood Thomas Edison's thinking. When you have exhausted, and this is the lesson for today, my friends. When you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this: you haven't. There is always another way. There is always a Facebook ad. I know you hadn't thought about that. You can get something done in a Facebook ad with $50. Listen, I'm not guaranteeing you that $50 in a Facebook ad will get you sales. Not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying you can get something done. You can get started. You can figure out, for $50, you can figure out how to run a Facebook ad. So that the next time, maybe a little bit better at it. Right? There's always another networking group. Meetup.com, by the way. That's the tip. I'm throwing that tip in for free. Meetup.com. You want to go meet some people? There you go. So that's one place. There's always another way. There is always another person at the other end of the phone, or at the other end of a text message, or an email, or a Facebook message, or a WhatsApp chat, or a Snapchat, or a chance conversation in the frozen food aisle. There is always someone else who is ready to talk with you about what you've got going on and to see whether you and they may want to work together. What was it? I used to hear this way back in the day when I first got started in the MLM and network marketing industry, direct marketing, direct sales. Way back in the day, I heard somebody lay all this out as far as opportunities and where they come from and how do we find. They use these letters: SW, 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 SW. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting. What's that mean? You share any idea, any opportunity, any business thought of any kind of venture with anyone. There's only two possible outcomes as far as who's going to work with you. Only two possible outcomes. Number one, some will. And number two, some won't. Now, my emotional response to that, my mental response to that possibility is critical. Here, in my opinion, is the only useful mental response to some will, some won't. You ready? So what? Which doesn't mean I don't care whether someone decides to work with me or buy my product or, join my team or whatever it is. What it means is, yeah, I care, but not too much. I care, but not enough to give you control over my future by means of the decision that you will make. Our friend John refers to it as non-attachment. You notice I didn't say detachment. Detachment means I don't care. Do whatever you want, I don't care. Non-attachment says, here's the opportunity. I think it's the best available opportunity for you at this time, given your current situation. And I think it would be a great idea for you to take advantage of this opportunity. Now, the choice is up to you. That is non-attachment. If you choose to work with me, fantastic, let's go. If you choose not to work with me, fantastic. I wish you the greatest of success in whatever you choose. By the way, even though you've chosen not to work with me at this time, is it okay if I keep in touch with you from time to time? Just to see where things stand. You never know. Life, what they say, life is what happened to us while we were making other plans. That's another little pro tip I'm throwing in for free. The fortune is in the follow-up. The fortune is in the follow-up. So anyway, back to our detachment. You want to work with me? Great. Don't want to work with me? Great. By the way, I'll keep in touch if that's all right with you. So non-attachment. And figuring out, finally, that there is always a way to expand our possibilities. There's always another way to get it done. There is always another option. I talk about this all the time. You've heard me talk about the principle from quantum physics. For any action, the theory states, for any action There is an infinite number of possible outcomes. So how do we know what's going to happen unless we try? Unless we go for it. Once again, and I shall conclude with this. When you think you have exhausted all possibilities, remember this: you haven't. And one way to find out about some other possibilities that may be available to you, come on in and bounce your problem off the mastermind here. Let us see what might be available in terms of the combined wisdom of this collective. Share your goal with us. Share the challenge with us. Share the struggle with us. I like to think we've got some pretty smart people in this building. I think we may be able to put our heads together and help you come up with a solution. So you see what I'm saying? There are always possibilities. Never forget that. One of the things that got me through some of my tougher times in previous lives and ventures and all that sort of thing was this idea that there is always a way out. There is always a possibility. There is always another way to get this done, and I am going to find it. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to find that one other possibility that will get me there. You can get it wrong, as Mark Cuban, I heard Mark Cuban say one time, you can get it wrong 12 times, 100, 1,000 times for success, on the way to success. You can get it wrong 100 times, 1,000 times. You only have to get it right once. Ooh, that's pretty good. Wish I could claim that one. So look, write that down somewhere. Put it on the edge of your computer screen or on your bathroom mirror or wherever, a little post-it. There are always possibilities. There are always possibilities. Do you know where I heard that first? You want to guess? Yes, it was a Star Trek episode. This episode is called, from the very first season, Star Trek. The episode is called Errand of Mercy. It was the very first time that viewers got a look or were introduced to the Klingons. The Klingon commander in that episode was predicting victory over the Federation fleet. And Spock, of course, says to him, "You may be premature. There are many possibilities." There are always... And you know what? Here's another one. What if it's actually true? Oh, look what Missy did. Not bad. She's thinking on her feet, I can tell you. How about that? What if it's true that you really can accomplish anything you set your mind to? Dorothea Brand, great book, Wake Up and Live. What if it were in fact impossible for you to fail? How would you act if you knew that it was impossible for you to fail? Would you keep looking and keep searching and keep trying this option and that option and the other possible solution until you found the one that would work, because you knew that sooner or later you will succeed? It is impossible for you to... Well, start with, there are always possibilities. Sometimes for us mentally and emotionally, it's difficult for those of us who are struggling with this kind of mental attitude, a sense of certainty, to come from, oh gee, I don't know, to the point of, my success is inevitable. Of course I'm going to win. Of course I'm going to succeed. Now, let's figure out how. Sometimes that transition is difficult. Sometimes it's easier to start with, okay, here's where I am right now, and there's where I want to be. And here's one thing I know for sure. There are many, between here and there are an infinite number of possibilities, an infinite number of possible outcomes. And I am going to find the one that gets me there. There you go. Sorry, a guy from a new networking group that I just joined just called me. Remember that new networking group? Okay, let me try. Okay, just send him a text message. Can I call you later? So, always be looking for the possibility. And I would, really, if I were you, I would write that down someplace and put it up. There are always possibilities. All right. Love to hear what you think. What's your story on possibilities? And what's going on up here in the attitude of, have I really done everything I can, or is there something else? Is there another possible solution? Is there another possible way to go to get where I want to be? Well, I know my answer to that. What's yours? Love to hear from you. And I know that our friend Stuart is setting up the firewood right now. He's about to put the kindling to it, and the wood will be burning soon enough. In the meantime, I am loving seeing your background there, Missy. What's happening, lady?
Well, for most of my life, I did not persist. And persistence, when you don't persist past a certain point, you have to go past that painful point. Otherwise, you leave it 3 feet from gold, and somebody else gets it. And being in this mastermind brought me to the realization that because it seems like there's nothing else. I was like Ford's engineers.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows what he was really thinking? He wasn't the engineers that they were, and he just wouldn't. It didn't matter. He was just persistent. And my friend Calvin Coolidge, the 20th president, says persistence is the greatest force, greater than compound interest. It is the only thing that has lifted mankind up out of the caves into civilization, because people did not give up. And one person at a time, we have to help each other continue to persist, despite all appearances of failure to the contrary. Wallace D. Wattles. And I've learned to do that in a way that I've never been able to do before, because I joined this group. Even though I read many of these things my life, I couldn't apply it in the correct way, because sometimes you need a group to help you along. So when I was doing it myself, I just gave up, So it's very important to be with people listening in YouTube. If you're not here, you're cray cray. This is a powerful place, and you can do powerful things that you may not be able to do on your own. I'm not saying you can't do it on your own, but this group enables you to do more than maybe at the current time you think you're able to do. That's basically it. So I really appreciated this, Glenn. Thank you.
Calvin Coolidge, I love this quote. Since you brung it up, Missy, how about this? Why don't we quote it? I got it right here. You ready? Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. Ooh, that's good. That's some good preaching right there. Thank you, President Coolidge. Hallelujah. Yes. Yes. I want that engine, and I'll have it. Back to work. You mentioned something there, Missy, about that Henry Ford didn't know as much as his engineers knew about steel and metallurgy and formation of steel. Well, sometimes, as Calvin Coolidge just said, education is no guarantee of success. You take a survey. I heard somebody say one time, you take a survey of any set of university graduates, check them out now. Check out what their grade point averages are, where they placed in the class, and then go back and check on them 20 years later. You'll find inevitably the A students are working for the C students. Why? Because, sometimes it's a great advantage to be not smart enough to know that you can't succeed. Does that make sense? Give you a perfect example. You know the best time to teach foreign languages to people? Before the age of 7. Why? Because kids don't know enough to know that they can't speak a bunch of different languages. Kids don't know about can't. They only know what we teach them about can and can't. So, you want your Brooklyn-born kid to learn to speak French? Start speaking to them in French right out of the womb. Have like La Vie en Rose on repeating loop in the house. Whatever you got to do. Start teaching them now. The issue that we have as educated, sophisticated, urbane adults is that we are so well educated and so well refined that we know beyond any possibility of doubt that we can't do that. It simply cannot be done. I call BS. You want it? Go do it. Will Smith. One of my favorite Will Smith movies, The Pursuit of Happiness. He says to his son, at one point he says, you want something? Go get it. Period. Don't let anybody stop you. Not even me, he says to his son. You want something? Go get it. And you and I are so smart sometimes. You and I are so smart, so sophisticated, that we already know that can't be done. Says who? Harlan Sanders. Retired from a very good job, I think in civil service or something like that, and soon after his retirement realized that he was not going to be able to survive on his pension check or his Social Security check or whatever it was. So he had, how can I make some extra money? I got to pay the bills. He said, I've got this recipe that, all my family, my friends seem to be real happy with it. Let me go to this restaurant down the road here and see if I can reach some kind of agreement that they will sell, the food made with my recipe, and, you kind of share the profits or whatever. They turned him down. He went down to the next one, turned him down, went to 107 restaurants before somebody finally said yes to what is now known as Kentucky Fried Chicken, KFC. Do you know when Harlan Sanders started this? I said it before. He was 65 years old. I'm too old. I call BS. Harlan Sanders. I'm too young. Really? How many stories have we read of people who, from a financial standpoint, who made their first million before the age of 21? As a matter of fact, I know of one very near and dear. You know who? Shannon Tice Lavenia. Made her first million way before the age of 30. Didn't know that? I'm too young. I don't have it. I call BS. You haven't exhausted all your possibilities. That's the real fear hiding behind it can't be done. No such thing as it can't be done. It might be true that you haven't yet figured out how to do it. It certainly can be done. Now go figure out how. If you need some help, need a couple questions answered, come see us. We might be able to make a suggestion. Call up somebody you trust. They might be able to help you. So there you go. What else? Okay, Stuart is ready. Yes. Lay it on us, brother. What's happening?
All right, I'm gonna travel back in time a little bit here.
Why am I? Oh, holy
Okay, so
moly.
you started out today. Well, hey, first of all, that's I have to
LFGM,
say
bro.
I am a Queens boy, and
LFGM.
I did grow the last thing I did before I left New York
Mm.
back in the late '80s was go to the ticker tape parade after the Mets won the '86 World Series. Um,
Yes.
so while I have a Yankee hat, and I know Missy just booed me, I was really just trying to give some props to my urban roots. I still call
Uh,
myself a recovering New Yorker, and I know we got Brooklyn in the house, we got Queens in the house, we got Long Island in the house, and so Excelsior. Um,
Excelsior.
and of course, where that brought me was Excelsior, which is
Aha.
a finely shredded wood product that we use in our e-commerce business as packaging, as a natural organic packaging option for our world-class bath bomb business that John
Excellent.
gives me props here for. So I just wanted to drop that on you. Also, Excelsior, um, in addition to being the motto of the state of New York, which I did not know, was also the motto of one of my heroes, Mr. Stan Lee,
Yes.
creator of Marvel Comics and iconic figures like Spider-Man and Iron Man and the Hulk. And his motto was Excelsior. And also enough said, um, which hurt quite a bit. Um, you started talking about the circle of life and things that things are either in a state of progression or in a state of decay, right? And you talked about the sciencey concepts behind that, right? So entropy is the degradation or the breakdown of systems into a state of decay, and then the opposite of that, which a lot of people don't know, is called negentropy, and it's the building up of systems into a state of order. So interesting enough.
Mhm.
Um, all weeks are created equal, my friend, right? And they start out with the same promise, right? And every day, every moment, every week, maybe I'll do that the other way. Every week, every day, every moment is a promise to begin anew, right? A new beginning. And so if you're having a shitty day, or if you're having a bad week, or a bad moment, or whatever that is, right? We have the choice, we have the ability to turn that around, or at least to start over, and get our head back in the game, right? And that to me is the promise of being human, is the ability to wipe the slate clean and start fresh with our mindset at any given moment. Um,
Mhm.
let's see, Captain Kirk, of course, is the master of not taking no for an answer, of there's always another way.
I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
Exactly. There is no Kobayashi Maru. Exactly. We've talked about this many times, that that was his claim to fame in Starfleet, was that he beat
The only
no
Starfleet
win
cadet.
in the no win scenario.
Yeah.
Um, what is it, Mr. Scott? Mr. Scott, I need warp speed in 2 hours.
Now.
Captain, I don't have the power. It cannot be done. It cannot be done. Right.
Yes.
And then I'll roll down the list, right?
Yeah.
I'm just a simple country doctor, Jim. Right. You can't, you can't
Yeah.
fix this. Everybody's always telling Tiberius that it can't be done. It can't be done. He doesn't take it. He calls BS every single time, right? There's at least one episode where Spock, figures out, well, if we loop around the sun and do the rubber band theory or whatever, we go back in time and we can change it, right? And I think there's at least one episode where he does that. So there's, example after example after example in Star Trek. So I just wanted to throw that out at you. And of course, you know all that.
The
I love the
episode was
Edison.
called "The Immunity Syndrome." The one of the crew loses his mind and actually shuts the engines down. And Scotty says to the Captain Kirk, he says, "Sir, he's turned the engines off. They're about to spiral in and crash on the planet's surface." And and Kirk says to Scotty, "Well, just restart the engines." And Scotty says, "I cannot change the laws of physics. I've got to have 30 minutes." And they're despairing until Spock, out of his drug-induced stupor, like he's been infected, he says the key words. He says, "There is a theory."
I love it.
Another possibility, right? There's a possibility we haven't thought of. Shut up, Glenn. Go ahead, Stuart.
Oh no, dude, I love it. And thank you for elaborating on those episodes, because I knew that you would know exactly what I was referring to. I love the Edison quote. I was not aware of that, but that's one of the principles that I live my life by, for sure. There is always another way. Can't isn't an option. Failure isn't an option. Failure is not even in my vocabulary, except when I talk about how it's not an option, or on one of these success calls. But honestly, I've never, and maybe not never, but in my last 30 plus years of my life, have only used that word on these Zoom calls in this context to just say that it's not in my vocabulary. But I love the fact that you referenced Dorothea Brand and what would you do if you knew failure was not an option, right? And act as if, to me, is the three key words to life that she shared with us, that I, again, try to embody and incorporate and employ in every aspect of my life. Act as if. And that, it goes beyond what if failure wasn't a possibility, but you want to be a successful business person, you want to be a successful marketer, you want to be a fireman, you want to be a doctor. Act as if. What would that person do? What would that version of myself do? And so I've found that to be very helpful and important. And then you're talking about the possibilities, right? You may know, and as I think, Glenn, I love you, man, because you coined the term the Llama King, which people have, and at first, it was a little hard to wear that, and yet I've come to embrace. That for sure. But as an outfitter, as a wilderness guide, I'm always in situations with minimal resources and, life and death situations, challenging situations, whether it's, taking care of groups or personal safety for one of our guests or whatever it is. And again, minimal resources, meaning my toolkit is pretty much up here. I carry a big ass expedition first aid kit and things like that. But again, there's only a limited amount of resources in there. And so to me, I have to make use of all the resources that are around me. From a medical standpoint, that turns into local herbs and medicinal plants, and having an understanding of whatever my resources are at any given moment in any given situation, right? So I coined the term creative problem solving years ago. Just, whatever comes up, I got to deal with it with whatever resources that I might have at the moment. So that really speaks to me in a big way. And then you were talking about possibilities and quantum mechanics and the possibility principle, and this concept of is it a particle or is it a wave, right? If you remember that wonderful documentary, What the Bleep are happening, or what the bleep are we doing here, or whatever. And this concept that all things exist everywhere, all at the same time, until you focus your attention on it in one spot, in one place, in time and space. And then you have what's called wave collapse. So you have everything exists everywhere, and then you look and then then everything coalesces and becomes one thing. So,
Yes.
the missing ingredient in manifestation and in our part of co-creation of our own reality and of the universe is consciousness, right? And so when we focus our awareness or our consciousness on one possibility, then everything in the universe collaborates, conspires to manifest that outcome. So I appreciate that. And then the last thing I'll drop is a book called The Third Door. Have you read this?
The Third Door. Doesn't ring a bell. I've heard of it, but never read it.
Alex Bonian. And there's always another possibility, right? And so the first door is the front entrance to the club that everybody stands outside and waits in line to get let in by the bouncer, and everybody's, that's the main entrance that everybody uses. The second door is the VIP entrance, where the elite and the special people and the important people and the celebrities all have their special pass to. The third door is the one that doesn't exist, that if you want to get into the club, you got to go find your way, and you either got to punch a hole through the back door, or you kick your way through the kitchen, or you climb through a window, or whatever it is, man. But that's your entrance, and that's your opportunity to create a way in, right? So there's always, and of course, what that really means is that third door has infinite avenues to create. But anyway, great talk today.
Yeah.
Thank you, man.
Schrodinger's cat. Yeah, absolutely. If a tree falls in the forest and there's no one, possibilities. What happened? The third door. What if I choose this? What if an infinite number of possible outcomes? What if I choose that? An infinite number of possible outcomes. That whole concept sounds like a whole lot of fun to me. Seriously. Possibilities. Always possibilities. Always some. Holy moly, look what time it is. We have been running our mouths for 1 solid hour. How do you like that? Okay, less the 61 seconds that I was late. All right. What a great conversation. Thank you all. I am looking forward to getting back together with you tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Time for, yes, you heard it here first, Networking Now. We shall be back. My friends, thanks again for spending a few minutes. Make it a great day. We shall see you again very soon. Bye for now.